action. Drop the clutch, pedal to the floor. Turn that giddy part into a lion's roar. Dream machine, racing queen. I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's slow this down, break the speed of sound. Tonight we own the road. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Red light on the highway, blue lights flashing behind me. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione Season 4. We are in Barcelona today with the final race of the season, organized by Formula Racing League and sponsored by SimGrid Racing. And just gonna take a look here. Take a look at the temperatures. We have a 20 degrees outside and a track temperature of 27 degrees. Before the qualifying session of the AM drivers starts, we will head over and take a look at the standings. For anyone in the chat, let me know if the sound is fine and if the picture is fine as well. I just saw that I had a little bit of a connection issue here, but should be fine now. Yeah, as I said, let's head over to the standings and see what happened there. So in the pro drivers, the thing is basically set. We have Grigory Ivanov quite confidently winning the last 5 races, and also with a gap that is not, what do you say? It's impossible for Veltman to close this gap. And then also towards the P3 we have Panosha. I don't think that a lot is going to happen there. I think it's virtually impossible as well. So P1 to P3 should be set. Then Shubham Biswas, who moved up 2 places in the last race, is in P4 now. Patrick Beesters lost a position, as well as Paul Whitburn. If I understood the chat correctly, Paul Whitburn and also Matt Whitburn will not take part in the race today. Then Kapi made in P7, who gained a position compared to last week. Amika Zetarash in P8. Davy Hill, who got P2 in the last race, is in P9 in the overall standing. And then there's Eric Griffith in P10. And yeah, as I said, Matt Whitburn, due to 2 changes of cars, he is not in the competition for the podium anymore, even though I think it would have been possible. Yeah, those are the drivers in the AM category and their standings. And let's take a little look at the amateurs. So Smudja also, I think, uncontended in P1. And yeah, there is a possibility if Smudja is not gaining any points today, then technically the dropped result here from the 16th position in the first race would count. And Vincenzo Conti in P2 and Tano Raymond in P3, and I think also there a lot of things have to go wrong in order to change anything in the podium there. Then there's Scavalieri in P4. So actually P3 is still up to debate. They need to be 5 positions apart within the top 10, I think. No, the top 6. Then there's Dario Brems in P8, Simon Bragg in P6, Peter Davidson in P8, even though I think this will also change after this race, because Baccini, who had quite a fair start of the season, was I think 2 or 3 races ago he was still in P3, so it's rapidly dropping down. Exactly. Then there is one more change that I want to mention, and I think it is. Yeah, no, I said it earlier. With the AM drivers, Cataldo in P16 gained. Adriano Cataldo gained 4 positions since the last race, and then there's also Tenkuif, currently in P28, who participated in the last race. Sorry, it's not 27 here, who participated in the last race for the first time and got P5. And that's it for this standing at the moment. Someone is sending hearts in the chat, I can see that. And we will head over to the qualifying of the AM drivers. Today we have 12. The AM drivers are going to be qualifying for 12 minutes, and then afterwards we have the pro drivers qualifying for another 12 minutes, and we have a total racing time of 60 minutes today. I was just wondering, yeah, there should be some sound now, and I'm gonna set up the display for you so you can also see the times properly. So currently Conti is running in P1 with a 1 minute 44.3. I'm looking at my spreadsheet here. That's already 102% time. Yeah, the best average time of the top 8 cars on Barcelona by all the pro drivers is 1 minute 42. So just as a reference. Currently running in P2 is Cimini. Then there is now P4 Jake Deschamps, and Smuja just took the lead with a 1 minute 44.007. Currently we have 20 cars on track, and out of these 20 cars there are 7 pro drivers. Yeah. Barcelona is a bit of an unfamiliar track for me. I haven't driven it a lot, so excuse me if I don't know all the perfect lines and all the perfect situations. But I know that it has 16 corners. This is what I found out before the stream as well, and it is 4.67 kilometers long, and it has a very long starting. How you say finish and starting straight. That is 1.047 1,047 meters long. So as already for a lot of the races before, Smuja is in the lead. But also here Cimini, that as I mentioned earlier, has gained 6 positions in the last race, is currently running in P2. Even though we're gonna go with Cimini for a bit, because he almost had 2/10 on the clock a second ago, and that would definitely put him into P1. But there's still the chicane coming up. And the chicane. still gave him a bit of a better time, so almost 3/10 now, and that will be P1 for Cimini. Yeah. And also someone who we, as usual, have to take a look out for, that is Raymond. The winner of the last race, who gained 3 positions in the overall standing. Yeah, Raymond and Scavalieri are still fighting for P3 in the championship. And as we can also see from the times, Cavalieri is directly behind Raymond in P5. And Raymond will improve his time by almost 4/10 now. Yeah. And that will put him into P3. Very tight one. There was a 3,000 missing. Jack Deschamps, half of the lap done. 3/10 of improvement on the clock. Now 4/10 currently. So that could put him into P5 for now. That would mean he would be starting between Raymond and Deschamps. Probably one more lap of qualifying left for everybody that is crossing now. But that was still not enough, so apparently he lost a lot of time in the chicane. Dario Brems with a yellow flag. Let's see what happened there. Okay, that was just rear stepping out before the chicane there. But generally, on Barcelona, some of the corners are quite challenging with the throttle work, so the rear of the car doesn't step out. Also, the sausage curb in the corners can be quite unsettling for the suspension. But generally, the white and red stripes are curbs are fine, but the yellow and red sausage curbs, for example, here, are not the most comfortable. Smuja is looking to regain his pole position. No, he wouldn't have managed to cross the start-finish line one more time, so that basically means the qualifying is set here with a pole position for the AM drivers of Andrea Cimini. Andrea Cimini. So currently Cimini in P1, Muja P2, and then Conti P3. Behind Conti we have Raymond and Scavalieri, that both are fighting for the podium still, for P3 specifically. Scavalieri also finished his lap now. There's still Cataldo who could, in theory, improve one position. No, that doesn't look like he will. No. Now just checking the pit lane entrance, and we're gonna take a look at the pro drivers now. What happened to the camera there? That was a bit confusing. See who's the first car out on track. This is still Coupiers coming in. Yeah, Casetaras is the first one that is going to go on the qualifying lap there. And we got one more driver on the server now, so we are at 21 cars. So for new viewers joining us, this is the final of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione, hosted on SimGrid by Formula Racing League. Feel free to leave a like for the stream, because that always supports the algorithm. Yeah, you were also looking at the driver, Casetaras, with the Formula Racing League livery. So a fitting subject in that situation to mention it. Yeah, these are the red curbs that I mentioned earlier, and also the yellow sausage curb there on the side. Those are a little bit uncomfortable when you hit them. It's similar like on Imola, even though on Imola they are more red, and no, actually I don't even know, to be sure, to be fair. But yeah, as expected, also the leader of the championship took the pole position with a 1 minute 43.085 immediately. So that's already 7/10 quicker than the quickest AM driver. That's why they are in these categories, but just to mention it. And then behind now, P3 for the pro drivers is Casetaras, and then Panosha in P3. Yeah, on the left side of your screen you can see the different number plates. The red ones are the AM or the amateur drivers, and the white ones are the pro drivers. Their results are also counted separately, so basically we have two races going on the same track today for 60 minutes with a mandatory pit stop and a fixed refueling time of 25 seconds, so that's the time that the pit stop will cost. Most of the people also decide to change tires, and that equates to 30 seconds of a pit stop then. Yeah, and now you can see the pro drivers are getting closer together, so Casetaras half a second behind the pole and Panosha behind. So the Raymond fan club is also back. Happy to see you guys. Raymond has qualified in P4 for the AM drivers, and in P5 is Cavalieri, who they are still fighting for the championship. So if Raymond finishes before Cavalieri, that's a clear result. And if Raymond finishes, I think it is like 5 positions or 4 positions behind Cavalieri, that would actually cost him P3, and that would cost him the podium for the championship as well. So that's something we have to watch out today, Cavalieri and Raymond. We are currently looking at Biswas. For the last races, I have been struggling. I have seen him struggle a little bit for the last races, and I also remember that he was a quicker driver generally now for this season in the midfield with race 2 P5, race 3 also P5. So generally in the midfield. It might also just be that my memory serves me wrong, and he's still driving better laps than he was before. That can of course be. So I can also see that Hill and Veltman have not qualified yet, so I am assuming that they will start from the back of the grid again. So all the M drivers will be sandwiched between 3 pro drivers in the front and 2 pro drivers starting in the back, and then we see where we end up, where they end up at the end of the race. So 3.5 minutes of qualifying left, official qualifying time. So basically that's still a very interesting situation. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the M drivers separated by 1 pro driver, that is Biswas, with a 404, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 8 other M drivers. So basically they're split exactly in the middle at the beginning of the race. It's just an interesting picture. On the left side of your screen, you can see it. Generally, Barcelona, and a very interesting track that is basically exchanging also very long high-speed sections with like short technical sections. So you can actually also see, if you look at the track map on the right side of your screen, there's basically this long straight, and then you have this bottom part that is quite technical, and then you have the top part with this with the last chicane, and in between you have two straights there. and one very long straight. So as we can see, the situation with Biswas has somewhat improved. So there's only 4 drivers in front of him, and he's in P8 now. Also very interesting that we basically see P1 to P6 are only Ferraris. Then there's Raymond in the Ford. Then there's Cavalieri in the BMWs, and then it continues with the Ferraris. And then some McLarens and BMWs in the back, and then Veltman in the only Audi that we see on track. So we have Veltman and Raymond that are basically driving exotic cars. Well, I mean, if you call a Ford and an Audi an exotic car, but and that is the situation. Also, yeah, also I see it here. The Ferrari is also punished with 20 kilos added. The Ford is punished with a restrictor. Yeah, basically the Ferrari has most weight added, and then there's the Lamborghini that has also 12 kilos added. So, but we have none on track here, and the qualifying session is also over. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers are on the grid, and we're going to see if we find a... Hi, Ramsey. You can go to SimGrid.com, I think, and on SimGrid you can find the Formula Racing League community, and there you can basically join the races and apply for a license, etc., etc. SimGrid.com. The drivers are now on grid, and I'm just looking to find a bit of a better camera position, because here we can only see Catalonia is your home. Don't really want to go for the helicopter cam, but apparently that's the situation that we have. Maybe if I changed the leader, it doesn't really look good. So we are going to improvise. So in the right column on your screen, you can see Ivanov in the red Ferrari there, and then you can see Kasetaras with the Formula Racing League livery in the left column, and then Panosha. Actually, it's the 3 of them, the 3 Italians again together. Maybe from the helicopter cam we can see it better. No, we cannot. Panosha in P3, Jimini in P4, Muja in P5. That is not the same livery as the drivers in front. Then we have Conti in P6, Raymond, the golden Ford in the right column that you can see there. In P7, then Biswas in the left column again, the green and orange Ferrari there. Cavalieri in the right column again, the little car that jumped a little bit in the moment I mentioned him. Then Jake Deschamps in P10, Simon Bragg in P11, and Adriano Cataldo in P12, Brian van der Kamp in P13, Daryl Cole in P14, Marinko Rok Pavlovic in P15, Dario Brems, the first of the 2 pink and blue BMWs in the left column. Then Kuipers in P17, Giuseppe Massina in P18, P19, Jarne van Kouwenberg, and then we have Davy Hill and the Formula Racing livery in the left column all the way in the back, and Nico Veldman also starting from the back of the grid like last race. Now, Ramsey, you have to basically pre-register for the races. You have to check out the Formula Racing League community on SimGrid. And I think there should be a page that explains you how to join the races. But it's a bit more structured. You register before. Wonderful, happy to help, Ramsey. So the drivers are now on the outlap, warming up their tires and warming up the brakes as well. Just struggling a little bit with my pictures here on my second monitor. Not pictures, Windows is the right. Yeah. Now it's all set up, so how I like it. So for the new viewers that are joining us, welcome to Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione Season 4. We are in the final race, organized by Formula Racing League and sponsored by Simnet Racing. Always feel free to leave a like of the stream, so the algorithm sees that people enjoy this content. And now we had a very good view. Maybe in the helicam we can see it in a second. A very good view of Panoscia, Timini, and Smucha, now Smucha and Conti, that have the same liveries. So all the blue Ferraris here by the Italian team starting quite close together. And in the back there is another one, I think it is Cataldo. Yeah, that is also driving the same livery. So Ivanov and Kasetarash playing a bit of a game there, even though from the dominance that I've seen by Ivanov in the last races, I think there will not be much of a battle happening, but maybe there will be. But the drivers are coming up in double file now into the last chicane before the start, and at roughly a quarter down the start finish straight, the race will start now. The drivers are lining up over their boxes, and at any second we are off with the last race of the season. Kisadarash immediately looking for the gap behind Ivanov there. And let's see how turn one goes. And it looks like Panoscia is looking for the inside there, and seems to also gain the position. So that is Panoscia, and there's someone off in the back of the track. That is Simon Bragg. So Panoscia gained a position in the start in the first corner. And now we are racing for 60 minutes, and let's see what happens there. There's a big crash in the back here with Messina. Let's just see what happened there in this very long right-hander. Yeah. Just a little bit of a touch there. So I think it was Kuipers, who then proceeded to slide over the whole side of the track. All the Raymond crowd is applauding in the chat. As he gets a little touch there by Biswas. The pro driver Biswas also losing some positions now. I don't know if he actually lost a lot. Raymond lost 1 position so far. Biswas lost 2 positions. And Panosha already 1.3 seconds behind Ivanov here after the first lap. Cimini and Smuja also getting closer and closer together. Smuja, the Red Bull livery driver, you can see in the front there. Because both of them are Ferraris, they are a bit hard to separate once in a while. Take a look at what happens here in the middle of the group. So Veltman is already up 7 positions from the start of the race, and then also Davy Hill is up 9 positions. So almost half of the field is behind them already after 2 laps. Assetto Corsa has 1 hour of time to regain the position that he lost there in the beginning of the race. I think I missed it, but that was already the first attack by Hill against Biswas. Also Veltman looking to pass on the inside of Brahms here. And also manages to stick to overtake, so now there's Hill and Veltman together. Something went wrong there in the front with that overtake. Because for 1 second my software here showed me that Hill had passed Biswas. It also looks like Raymond manages to actually stay with Cavalieri. So that's the important battle happening there. Well, the battle on paper happening there between Cavalieri and Raymond. At the current position, I think Raymond is still safe in P3, but who knows what might happen. So now this time, let's take another look at Davy Hill as he tries to pass Biswas on the end of the straight here. That looked like the server just that looked like either it was me that had a little bit of a disconnect there, or the server had an issue. Yeah, just let me know in the chat if the stream had any issues just a second ago, because it showed me that it left out some frames. But it looks fine currently. Hill is really pushing up the pressure there. Yeah, that is the moment that Biswas goes a little bit wide. And now immediately he has Veltman behind him. So a lot of pressures to the pro drivers there as well to move through the grids if they don't qualify and they have to start from the back of the grid. You can see here Veltman already breathing the exhaust gases there from the Ferrari in front. Yeah, but not this lap. Also the gap between Raymond and Scavalieri opened up a little bit in the last lap. Even though I don't really know why, because they almost drove the identical lap time. So Hill now has already passed Van der Kamp, while Veltman is still stuck behind Biswas and Van der Kamp. Yeah, we can take a little look into the onboard situation here. I think that might actually be an interesting view. Even though I have to tone down the screaming of the Audis a little bit. So in front we have Biswas, and in front of Biswas the white Ferrari is Van der Kamp, and then already a bit further away is Davy Hill. But it still is a little bit too early, because we also have Cimini attacking Smuja here, slash Smuja on the defensive line, the driver with a Red Bull Racing livery here, and Cimini in the back with the blue and red. I assume it's the Team Soto Sterzo livery. Yeah, in Barcelona sometimes it's very difficult to keep the cars properly planted on track. There are some of the corners that also the braking references are difficult to find, and you just have to feel it, and then sometimes lift off the throttle a little bit and make sure that the car doesn't oversteer. Yeah, Cimini looking to confuse his opponent a little bit there by showing himself in the mirrors. Just as a side note, Veltman now also managed to pass Biswas. Now we have Davy Hill already hunting down Raymond there. I would be surprised if he manages to catch the Ford on the straight. But it might actually be enough. Yeah, and also Raymond lets him pass, because there is almost no point in. No, there is actually no point in fighting one of the pro drivers if you are an M driver, just because the scoring is completely separated. And we're gonna stay with Cimini here. And for the new viewers joining us, you are watching Formula Racing League and Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione Season 4. And this is the final race of the season. So the 8th race last week. Last week we were on the Nürburgring GP circuit, and today we are in Barcelona with a with a 60 minutes race. Two classes of drivers are driving here. The amateur drivers with a red number plate that are generally a bit slower in their lap times, and the pro drivers that are obviously the quickest ones with the white number plates. The drivers have to do one pit stop in this race that will cost them 25 seconds to refuel and an additional 5 seconds if they want to change the tires. Most of them change tires because generally the time that you lose driving half an hour longer is more than these 5 seconds it costs you to change the tires, so it usually makes sense. So Hill has also caught up to Scavalieri now. Veldman passed Van de Kamp. Yeah, letting Davy Hill pass cost Raymond roughly 1 second almost. But it's highly likely that also Scavalieri will lose some time due to Davy Hill passing him. Obviously always depending on where it happened, but Raymond basically left the ideal line. Yeah. And that was a bit late on the brakes there for Davy Hill, so he will have to try again. Now also flashing the lights to get past. Yeah, that was... Here they are also trying to find some space on the inside that I wasn't sure was there. I will have to take a look at it again. Maybe Cavalieri just taking the corner a bit wide, but there was... If you no longer go for a gap, well, I'm not sure if there was a gap to go for. Either way, that is Cavalieri down by 5 positions now. I mean, I do think that Raymond is going to be happy about that, if he is aware of that, because that basically was the elimination of his... how do you say it in English? It's not concurrence. Competition is the right word. That was basically the elimination of his competition, so now P3 looks much more likely to him. There was also Pavlovic with a little yellow flag, but doesn't look like something major. Oh, and Cimini is still hunting down Smuja. Lost about half a second last lap, or probably just made a mistake there. I mean, it's probably too early to celebrate for the Raymond gang, but it doesn't look too bad at the moment. I mean, it's always about driving consistent laps and actually not crashing, obviously, so in the next 43 minutes a lot can still happen, but I don't think that Cavalieri's car is damaged, so he might actually catch up fairly quickly. Yeah, he should possibly. You should, Jasmer, you should definitely celebrate all the little wins. That's how it is. So now also Veltman has caught up to Raymond. Yeah, this is exactly what I meant earlier. You could just see it now with the Audis that the Audi of Veltman, that it got a little bit unsettled there by the Rayman. Yeah, exactly. That it got a little bit unsettled by the bigger curb there. Oh, there's another one from the Rayman gang. I didn't know you were so many. Yeah, and that's Nico Veltman passing him with a little bit of a drift. And I think Simon Bragg is the first one to come into the pits now. Yeah, Scavalieri immediately starting to gain back positions, now only 3 positions down from where he was. Now we are looking at Davy Hill slowly closing the gap to Vincenzo Conti. You can see also with Conti there is slow the brake lights of him flickering a little bit, because some corners just really require the sensitivity in the setting of the car, and also maybe, you know, tapping the brakes, taking off a bit of throttle. That really is the balancing act that the drivers have to do here. And for a second it looked like Conti was going to make some space to Hill, but yeah, Hill now side by side. And managed to pass Conti. Now the gap between P2 and P3 is quite consistent. A bit less than a second, but I keep an eye on it. And both of the drivers are very is it consistent? Yeah, very consistent drivers. So it is entirely possible that the gap in between them stays the same. I'm just looking for a way to see the lap times of the previous laps, but I think I don't have it here in the software. That would be wonderful. Yeah, also here I can only see the overall standing, but not the no additional lap information. No. Not gonna bother you. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna bother you with the view of the standings the whole time. Currently we're down to 18 cars. And Casetarash is gaining a little bit of time again. Yeah, also the corner coming up here a bit difficult to find the proper braking references. There's this pole that you can see there on the left side of the track from the driver's perspective, but if you see that pole while you're trying to brake, then you're definitely doing something wrong. So it's also not really a good reference. We are looking at Assetto and Panoscia, so the battle for P2 of this race. Last lap by Assetto was 4/10 quicker. Now let's get the result here. This was just 1/10 quicker. Also Cimini now gained 3/10 last lap. Let's stay with Cimini here because he is closer. And also there's Davy Hill coming up in the back. Oh, maybe Assetto here going for the attack? No, not really. Pavlovic with a yellow flag. Let's see what happened there. From the looks of it, a bit too much on the gravel there, and then losing the car into the barrier. Ah, unfortunate mistake there. Very unfortunate. Davy Hill still looking at the rear there, and at some point Cimini is going to let him go. Going to have to let him go, actually. And now Hill looking for the inside. And actually passing on the inside as well before turn 1, so enough overspeed generated. Pavlovic is in the pits after this crash. Yeah, and that unfortunately also resets Pavlovic back to the last position in the grid. And now after Davy Hill just passed Cimini, he's looking for Muja. And then basically we're starting to get a nice sorting between the white and the red number plates, so the pro and the amateur drivers. It is actually quite impressive how Hill has moved through the cars, so that is already 15 positions of driving. Well, Cavalieri had to suffer a little bit, but generally it was kind of safe. Rimini is now in the pits. And Veldman has also managed to pass Conti. And we unfortunately missed the pass between Davy Hill and Smuja. And Panosha and Casetera show quite extraordinary consistency here. Both of them are hovering around the 1 minute 44.5 for the last laps. Both of them in the last lap 1/10 apart, and also in the best lap actually 1/10 apart. So the best lap of Panosha in front is a 1 minute 43.8, and the best lap of Caseterash in the back is a 1 minute 43.7. So now let's see what happens in the pits. Caseterash is coming in, and I'm gonna take a look at the time in pit here. 1 second, is there some other gap that is more relevant than this? No, at the moment not really. So I will take a look at the time in pit here for Caseterash. So that is 20 seconds stopped with Caseterash. And now possibly when he comes out of the pits, he has a bit of a free time. That is 33 seconds stopped for 35 seconds stopped for Caseterash. I think usually the very quick pit stops are 31 seconds. So that was a 35-second pit stop and 1 minute and 6 seconds in the pits for Caseterash. Let's keep an eye out for when Panosha comes into the pits. That is probably going to be the next interesting situation. At a gap, Scavalieri is roughly 10 seconds behind Raymond. Looking at the lap time, that is also roughly justified, with Scavalieri being 5/10 lower than Raymond. Okay, that is Panosha coming into the pits now. And Caseterash is out halfway around the track. I'm gonna keep a look at the standing time. So Scavalieri, Panosha is stopped in the pits. Caseterash is now coming up to the last chicane. Panosha is still stopped in pits. Probably another 5 seconds, depending on how the pit stop goes. That is 30 seconds. Yeah. So 3 seconds quicker in the standing time. So in theory, Panosha should end up now leaving the pits still in front of Caseterash. Yeah, and that is very tight. Let me see what's happening there. Oh, that is whoa. Oh, Caseterash fighting to stay on track, fighting to get this position. Just looking at the statistics for a second now. Obviously, Panosha is the one with the colder tires, and in theory, Caseterash can capitalize. Sorry for my English. Capitalize on that Smuja is in the pits. Okay, that was a yellow flag that got shown me there. We're staying with... Oh! Sorry, I clipped, but what is happening there? Oh, how frustrating. How frustrating. Cassetarash lost the rear of the car. Oh, overturned something overturned. Ay. And Cassetarash is back in the pits. He has just returned to pits. Well, that is currently, interestingly, Davy Hill and Nico Veltman are P2 and 3. Because Cassetarash is in the pits again, and yeah, Panosha is passing him now. Ay. Raymond is now also in the pits. Things are happening. Raymond with a standing time of 35 seconds. That seems to be a bit longer. The best pit stop that I can see here is by Conti and Cole and Panosha with 32 seconds. Okay. Oh, there's also a Smuja team watching the stream. Wonderful. Yeah, Smuja also very comfortable in his overall position. The reason why he's here in P6 is because he has pitted already, and Scavalieri is just coming into the pits now, so in a minute the times will be set, and it looks like Cassetarash will finish the race in pit. Because he's there for, well, he crashed into the wall quite hard, but he's there for 2 minutes 15 already, so he's almost the last driver at the moment. So where do we have Raymond? Raymond we have in P11 at the moment. And now there's Cavalieri coming into the pits. Even though I don't see where he is. He's just standing. If I look at this TV camera, he's just standing right behind that pole here. So, and now he seems to be moving again. Yeah, and there he is. Scavalieri and Raymond is coming up. Raymond has already passed the T1, and Scavalieri is now out on track. Yeah, how I said before, roughly 10 seconds behind Raymond. I also think that in this situation it would not be enough just for Scavalieri to be in front of Raymond, because both of them are not in front of the grid, and that gives less points, and the gap in between the both of them is 5 points. So Ivanov and Veltman are both in the pits right now, which is really interesting. Yeah, Ivanov just leaving the pits, and Veltman in the pits, and Davy Hill was already in the pits. Sorry, there was a lot of pit. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that was just Davy Hill that passed the pit box there. So there's only Smuja that is now separating Veltman from Hill. Hill and Veltman, both of them started in the back of the grid and made their way all the way to into the P10s. Yeah, and Cassetto has also left the server, which is unfortunate to see. But as far as I can see, that also doesn't have much implications on the standings. Conti just passed Messina here, Giuseppe Messina, the last driver that still has to come into the pits. If I'm not mistaken, that was also the case in the last race, so it seems to be his go-to strategy. Yeah, it is going to be interesting if Veltman manages to catch up with Smooja here. Because we've also heard from the Smooja fan club that Smooja is a quick driver, so I will take a look at the lap times in a few seconds. And Conti also putting some pressure on Biswas here. Excuse me. Yeah, Veltman has brought the gap down to 8/10 already. 6/10 now, right in that corner. Yeah, but it's 7 now again. Conti is trying to pass Biswas on the outside. Now this is the corner that I was saying that the braking references are not so clear to see. Or they're not so easy to find, actually. Not just not clear to see. They're just difficult to find. I haven't found a braking reference. So if anyone can enlighten me, what the braking reference is for turn 5 on Barcelona, I'd be very happy. Ay. That was a mistake by Biswas, and he is off. Yeah, Veltman with a 6/10 quicker per lap, now actually caught up to Smooja. And there's 20 minutes to go. So now that's an 8.5 seconds gap between Veltman and Hill. And this is going to be a challenge to close that gap within 19 minutes. Because as we've seen, the speed difference between the AM drivers and the Pro drivers per lap is about a second in some cases. But the speed difference between Veltman and Hill, as far as I've seen them drive, is not so high on some tracks. I mean, Veltman was the winner of the championship last season, so the summer season basically. Was it the summer season? Not really. Season number 3. Let's call it season number 3. So as there are so many fans here, we're taking a quick look at the Raymond that is driving on a visually almost completely empty track. Scavalieri is 12 seconds behind him now. After the unfortunate crash, there is Pavlovic in the back, then Messina now, who has done his pit stops, is in P15. Then there's Jano Kuipers in P14, Daryl Cole in P13. In P12, Brian van der Kamp, then the first one of the Team Soto Sterzo drivers from Italy. In P11, then we have Scavalieri in P10. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the liveries kind of look similar. Also Scavalieri from Italy. Then we have Raymond here for Velocity Racing. Then Shubham Biswas for Indy GT from India. Then we have Vincenzo Conti, also from Team Soto Sterzo. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm not misinterpreting the TSS there in the team banner at the name, then we have Andrea Cimini in P6, also Team Soto Sterzo, and Smuja, also a Ferrari driver, but for Emil Frey Racing. I'm not sure if the drivers have actually written their some race team that they have in their profile, but usually that's the case. So then we have Nico Veldman for Fast Forward Racing in P4 at the moment. Davy Hill for Formula Racing League esports team in P3. Then Panoscia for the virtual team Soto Sterzo. And then we have the undisputed winner of this championship, Grigory Ivanov. I was just checking what the Soto Sterzo means, and it's basically understeer. Soto is under and Sterzo is steer, so it's team understeer. If you would translate it literally. So Panoscia here with the virtual team Soto Sterzo understeer, then Cimini also with Team Soto Sterzo, then Vincenzo Conti that just has just written TSS, which are the same initials. Scavalieri also, and then Cataldo. Yeah, Scuderia Sunbeam is a different team, so these are the team understeer drivers from Italy. Yeah, to be fair, it also looks like Raymond is going to hold on to his lead here. Conti is a position ahead of him. And the leader of the race. And also the leader of the standing, obviously, is still Smuja. Also, I think he cannot even lose this position that he has in the overall standing. There is over 30 points separating him. Maybe the last interesting showdown here of this race. I wouldn't say the last, we never know what's going to happen, but is Davy Hill that actually managed to hunt down Panoscia now. And I think that will also be the last driver that he will be able to hunt down, because then there's a 25 seconds gap to Ivanov. And I also will take a look at the passenger perspective here, because that is actually a battle for P2 of the race. So that's something that we obviously have to pay attention to. Yeah, also one of the difficult curbs there. That's the rear of Panosha stepping out. Now he's preparing to make a little dive on the inside there, and that is that chance, but maybe a bit too ambitious. I'm gonna raise the volume for you again. So there you are. Maybe that was a little bit too ambitious for you. So now for Hill, from Hill, and now Panosha just all the way on the inside, close to the pits. Now also furiously flashing his lights. If I may be putting that interpretation on some flashing lights, but yeah, also Hill just compromised the exit of the chicane there for Panosha, so that obviously led to the overtake on the straight. Yeah, a little bit forcefully. So 10 minutes and 25 seconds left of this race. 16 cars are still on track. Most of the gaps are solved. There is Raymond slowly closing the gap towards Biswas, but only 2/10 slower than Raymond. So that means there's still 3 laps to go until we can expect a battle there. And that is also the closest gap that I can see here on my software. All the other gaps are above 1 second for sure. Yeah, Brian van der Kamp is still maybe closing the gap to Cataldo, but if I take a look at the lap times, it also seems a bit unlikely that this is going to happen in the next 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So the best bet here is Raymond. Maybe also Cimini manages to track down Smuja a little bit, but I'm not too certain about it. Right, that was quicker than I expected. I mean, they are at least in sight. That is Raymond behind Biswas. A bit more of a wider line. Now it looked like Smuja had a mistake in the last lap, so now Gemini is on his heels. Gemini that is currently running P11 in the overall ranking, but has been P3 in the last race and now looks for a good P2, so that might actually still gain him some positions in the overall standings, even though I cannot calculate them in my head at the moment. Yeah, from the lap time it just looks like Smuja made a mistake last lap, so that's about that's where this half a second comes from that he lost. But if he continues to drive consistently, I don't think there will be a chance for Cimini. Smuja a little bit more on the inside of the corner, while Cimini tried to make as much use of the space on the left side of the track, but that also led to him losing the rear of the car a little bit, and that's why I think that already solves the possibility for an attack here. So without another mistake by Smuja, I don't think they will be able to close. Oh, we got 5 minutes of race to go. Oh, yellow flag from Cataldo here. Possibly the same thing that happened to Pavlovic. No, a bit earlier. Pavlovic basically went on the green there and then spun because of that. Generally in T1 and T2 it's very important to carry a lot of speed into the corners, into the first corner, but then it's also very tricky to hold the car steady, especially in the second corner. I did not expect to see a battle between P1 and P2 of the AM drivers today. Oh, first of all, that is quite an improvement for Cimini. First of all, he has not taken part in all the races of the season. Take a look here. Oh no, he has. Yeah, Cimini has taken part in a lot of the races, but generally ended up in P6, P8, P15, and last race P3. So now P2 is also quite an improvement. And also Raymond is now coming closer to Biswas. Even though they're technically not fighting for position, so that's why. Except for the times that both of them are driving, it's not so relevant if he overtakes him there. Because the Pro and the AM drivers are in completely separate scoring systems. So this is a bit more interesting here. Yeah, an interesting situation here is as well that basically where you see, Gemini with a better exit there in the corner. Mujo on the defensive line. Now also going a bit. I thought he was gonna go a bit more deep. He was gonna go a bit deeper, but he held on to it. So the track limits into turn, what is it? Turn 3/4 on Barcelona are quite wide. You can go out on the curb quite high. I mean, basically still 2 tires have to stay on the white and red curb, but the green curb can almost be completely used. It's not everywhere like this, but in a lot of places on Barcelona it is like that. Gemini now with a bit of a later apex / a mistake. One of both. One more lap to go. Yeah, still very tight racing even after 59 minutes of it. I'm not sure how much time has passed already. Both of them. Gonna go to the helicam again, side by side. Smudge on the inside. And Gemini on the outside now. Also leaving the space, and that is the pass, but maybe Smudge going for the switchback. No. Wow. Gemini, that was quite impressive. Quite impressive. Yeah, I still think that we will have one more lap for Ivanov, because he is not gonna make it in this 10 seconds.
Alright, man. The leader's
So
in the final lap. Give it a final
one
push.
more lap for Ivanov, and also one more lap for Smudja to get the position back. That is quite surprising. Gemini winning this race if he holds on to that position without making mistakes. I mean, nothing can take Smudja off the championship win, but it might still be a little bit frustrating in the almost last lap of the race to lose the pole there. Oh, Raymond struggling a bit in the last laps to keep up with Biswas. They're also still in different classes, so that is completely fine. Oh, there's a drive-through for Cataldo. There's a drive-through. That will add, I think, 30 seconds to his race time. And now this is Ivanov passing the start-finish line. The winner of Season 4 Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione Season 4, organized by Formula Racing League and sponsored by SimGrid Racing, is Grigory Ivanov. I also think that it's not his first championship win, but congratulations for that. Then P2 coming in should be Davy Hill in any second. Davy Hill overall in P9 of the championship. Then there is Panosha. And Panosha, I think, also unchanged in P3. And then behind Panosha is Veldman. And then there is Gemini, the winner of today's race. And coming in behind is Muja, the winner of the of the AM drivers. Sorry for that. And then there's Conti, also passing the start and finish line. Then Biswas, and finally we have Raymond, loved by the audiences this season. Then we have Scavalieri, P4 in the AM category. A bit unfortunate this race because he was pushed off by Davy Hill. Otherwise there might still have been a bit of a competition between Scavalieri and Raymond van de Kamp now also. And then there's also Cataldo coming in for his drive-through penalty. And that was it from my side. I thank you very much for watching. It was a pleasure to be the commentator for the season again, and I hope to see you all for the next season. Check out Formula Racing League SimGrid, where you can also join the races, and leave a like for this live stream, and feel free to to do whatever you like to do. And see you around. Sorry, I got a bit lost a second ago. Thank you for watching. Ciao, ciao.